more than
And
one
corral the
question.
dog somewhere, so
Some
not, like, in
people
the
didn't put
background.
their name. Some people have chosen to go under a different name, even though I'm fairly certain
Alias.
I know who the people are.
I also see that there are some people that said they would submit questions.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be a problem.
Thank you for noticing that.
They're not there. I'll say this, like, I'm a football fan, but I'm a fan. Up until this point, I was a fan of, like, my team. So I know all the players on my team.
Go Kansas City Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. Let's do it up for 2 in a row. We're struggling a little bit on offense, but we're still a good team. But I realized how little I knew about the NFL and players in the NFL as a whole. So when I drafted, I realized I know my team, but I don't know a lot of these other people.
Yeah.
So that was, I will say my draft was not that great, but my managerial decisions after that have
Probably
brought
the
my
best in the
team-
league. I would honestly say the best in the league.
Because I went from being
On the
projected to end up 6th to now I'm 3rd in the league, and some of the people that were projected to be like 1st or 2nd are
Hi.
like,
bottom. It's me.
Zach.
well, and
the problem, it's
and both
me.
my in-laws.
You know,
Both my
that
brother-in-laws
is
were
completely
projected to be
ancillary to this
top, and they're-
conversation
they both
topic
have
today,
worse
but that's
records
true.
than-
I did
they
make
have
mistake in the back of my
exact
car.
opposite records
Yeah.
than me.
It's a great story.
So yeah,
For
our
another
teams
day.
So, Brian.
aren't so bad. You're just dumb.
Listen,
that?
just
It's really
because
terrible.
you
It
drafted
paints me in a really
Tyreek
awful
Hill,
light. Really, it
who
does.
has had like multiple 50-point games.
Not to harp
That
on
wasn't
fantasy
me.
football, but do you remember that one time Brian offered you AJ Brown for DeVonta
Yeah.
Smith, and you told him
And
no?
honestly,
Yeah.
How dumb do
that's
you
really
feel?
Absolutely,
that was really
like an
the-
idiot.
like stupid
impetus
dumb
to,
head,
like,
And it
idiot
was-
face.
friendship
it was-
now,
it was
so it's
week
weird to see
3.
Yeah.
how
Because
it's starting
Devonta
to
Smith
split
had
now.
had
It's
2
just-
decent
so bad.
games, and
Yep.
AJ Brown had just
Yep.
done nothing.
Yep.
And then ever since
Wow.
then, it's been the exact opposite. So
That's got to make you feel great.
yeah, I done screwed up.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right. What's next?
I think I was
Hold on.
I was in 12th grade
checking
when
off,
you were in like 7th or 8th.
Yeah, I had to check them off as we go.
Because like I'm 35. How old are you? Yeah, so sounds about right.
This one, I like this one.
No,
I'm gonna go
no.
Number 13.
Did you really?
Okay.
Next. So
I mean, I came close a few times, but I never failed.
there's 2 number 13s.
All right. The top number 13.
Yeah. This is coming in from Michaela. Brian's Whiffy says, would Zach, that's me, Big Daddy Wayne Zach,
Yep.
would
Yep.
Zach vote for Zach, Mr. Sexy Coffee, if he ran for president, or vice versa? So I'll say, I think we both have pretty similar political viewpoints and political
Yep.
standings. So absolutely, I would vote for Zach. I mean, I
That it?
I don't know. I mean, it is Dick Cheney. That's his name.
That is
but
dark. Did you think it was like a Tamagotchi or something? Like
I think we'll hop around here.
why? He's not staying alive. He's still dying.
Your favorite book / podcast you're going through?
My Life, Your Life Together podcast.
Yeah, like what a get out of
What
here.
Just wanted to take your life.
What a silly question.
What a silly question.
No, that actually is a good question.
How did she? Because your
it
pump
is.
is attached to.
Well, I had to unplug because I was running.
Okay.
I'll
I was
say
like, did she just rip
Man.
it out?
book.
but that
So
makes
I
more
am
sense.
in a book series, and it's a little intense. Evers series, and so it is a post-apocalyptic, kind of post-nuclear apocalypse
That's a good choice. That's good for a small child.
series.
Good choice to
That's
make.
super cool, and it's
What
just
grade
talking
do you
about
want to be in?
the survivors and their life, basically 250 years after, like a nuclear holocaust, and so it's got a lot of cool things in it. But it is
No. I went to also
Being in
public
that
school prior. So I
post-apocalyptic
attended
genre.
kindergarten, first grade at public
not
school.
for children.
And then
feel
similar
you.
to
I'll
you,
say that.
when I transferred from public school to private school, because Oakwood was a private school,
I mean,
I struggled for
I'm
sure. I
only
didn't get
reading
kept
one
behind,
book
but there was definitely some struggle
currently,
there. I remember my mom made me attend
I've been told to. So
like special ed classes.
But
like
before
after
that,
school. Like I had a
I
tutor.
was
I'm old and crusty
my
now.
favorite
but
style is like
back then, my mom
fantasy,
had, like,
sci-fi, and so like
It's
I
the
love
cocoa butter.
reading through
Anyway.
like the Warhammer
But my
40K
mom, she had
novels.
actual
I've
record
actually
player in
never
her
read the
house,
novels
and
of
she had
those,
like
but I've
these
heard
old
that they're
school like
good.
hooked on phonics like actual
I started with
like
the Blood Angels.
records, and I'd go
They
home
were
after
just
school
always
every day
reading
and listen to
factions.
these,
So like
and like learn how to like read and write and tie my shoes.
I
It
could
was
always read.
It was an uphill battle for
I could
sure.
always read anything Warhammer, Space Marine related.
Like six,
Blood Raven,
6 or 7.
Omnibus.
Yeah, I was really young.
Like 3 books. of those.
Because
Stellar.
Oakwood,
Have
to
you
Zach's
ever
point,
read,
it was a private school, so the curriculum was
Halo
just
books?
it was ridiculous.
No.
I mean, I guess
Halo books
the
are actually
equivalent would be like a college
My
prep
friend
school.
used to read
It was
them a lot.
well
wild.
written, very interesting.
Just to kind of
They're a good book series.
yeah,
but there's
essentially
like
to put it
30 of them.
into perspective.
Yeah,
I
see,
remember
that's the thing,
actually I
like,
did fail one
stuff
class
behind
when I
them.
was in I think 9th or
What
10th
about,
grade. Whatever grade we took algebra
Oh
in.
my gosh, I can't remember.
I mean, I'm sorry, algebra 2. I failed algebra
his
2.
name?
It was like
wrote,
10th grade, so algebra 2 I
Mistborn.
failed like
it's
miserably.
a
And this is
fantasy
not for lack of
series,
trying. Like I had a tutor after
Give me one
school. I
second,
said
I
after
gotta look
class.
up.
Like I did all the
But
things
he's
I
a
could possibly
very
do
good
to, like,
writer. Brandon
pass this
Sanderson.
class.
Oh,
Long story
okay.
short,
Brandon
yeah, yeah,
my
Sanderson's
average
novels.
for like
So
the
he has a
four
couple
semesters
different
of
worlds
the
that
school
he's
year was like a
created.
47.
There's one that's like sci-fi.
It was really
some
bad.
that are like fantasy.
So I had to go to summer school. So I went to
but
summer
very
school
good
at
novels.
this
I've-
public
I've
school
read
up
Mistborn. I haven't
in Lake George
finished
because we had a
that
camp up there, so
series,
we had
but
to be close to where we were.
Mistborn in and of itself is a
so we
fantastic
took-
book. Really good novel.
Yes, thank you. That's where he slept in the
As
car.
far as podcasts,
Podcast,
We'll get
the
there.
only two I've listened
Anyway, so I had to go to summer
recently.
school, and I remember the first day of
And I'm
summer
trying to
school,
listen to more like
I go in, I had,
independent
like,
podcasts. I followed
protractor,
a lot
compass,
on Instagram recently, and I've been slowly working through some of their
whatever
episodes.
calculator. I don't know what it was. And I'm,
Kind of just to figure out what works
yes, you
for
could.
them to see if I can incorporate it.
I was
make
ready
this
to
a
go,
little better.
and
But in terms
the
of
first
like,
day we're like drawing triangles.
big
Like, literally,
podcasts,
like drawing. them. And I'm
It's
like,
Always Sunny
is this, like,
podcast,
real?
and
Like,
then
what's happening here?
Smartless with
Yeah.
Jason
So
Bateman,
that
Arnett,
proceeded to be
and,
the equivalent of the rest of the
always
summer.
forget
It was
the
just
other
like
guy's name.
ridiculous. Like
Sean-
not even like
Sean-
scholastic in any way. Not at all. I still don't know anything about algebra 2. But anyway, my
But the concept of that podcast is they started it during
Oh
COVID,
yeah,
and
I had a
they
99
each have a guest
average
on.
in that class, and
Like,
it was
one
it was
person brings on a
wild.
guest per episode, but it's a surprise guest.
so you have no idea
No,
what to
it-
expect.
Yeah,
But,
that,
you know,
that
it's
was
fun.
the grade
It's
that
just
I
fun. You
got.
have 3 like comedic
Oh, yeah.
powerhouses on a podcast.
But yeah, I didn't
Bring
learn
in
anything.
A guest that's sometimes a comedic powerhouse and sometimes.
I mean that's just
not,
public
but
school
it's-
curriculum.
It's great.
Typically, I mean,
See,
if you're
one of
not in
the-
AP classes or the
The
advanced
podcast that I
classes, like you're,
probably listen to.
this is not
most
pejorative. It's just like
is
the class
Sean Ryan
material is
show.
not as rigorous as your public school.
I
Sorry, your private school.
love.
Because
So
private
it
school, you're
started
paying
out
for
right.
that
He's
next
a
level
he's a military
education.
veteran, Navy SEAL,
Yeah,
and
yeah, good
CIA
times.
contractor,
Yep.
and so he would.
99
It started
average.
out
I
he would
felt
do it
like
for
so
like
brilliant.
historical purposes. and
So
stuff, and
brilliant.
have
I
other
can't do math
veterans
still.
on to
I
talk
can't do my
about,
taxes, but it's
You know
okay.
their experiences and kind of detailing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
He's
I'm like,
had
listen,
like
basic
World War
math.
II
You need to
veterans.
take care of
He's
this for me.
had, you know, more recent with
They
the
make money.
you know
They do
Gulf
make
War
money.
and terror veterans from that, and then he ended up branching out into a lot of other stories where he had on like so the guy from the Machine Gun Preacher, right? The missionary that actually so he had him on. He had some people that came out
Art
of like
Butler.
yeah, he had no, he had the real life guy, which actually is a fantastic episode. He's had
Absolutely.
on people from
Well,
like
the thing
that
is, I
came
mean,
out
I
of,
remember,
like, the
you know,
narcotics
again, back in
world,
the day
like
when I was
cartel
young,
stuff.
we used to
and then he's
my
branched
mom
out
used to make
into
us
a
do
lot
our
of other
taxes
things, kind of the
like
political
by hand.
world. He's at on
This is before like TurboTax.
So he kinda
This
just
is
deals
before
with-
you
has
know
on
all the
people to
computer stuff.
talk
No, there was no
about
app. There was no go online.
a lot of different stuff. He's
you know,
almost
we didn't
turned
go to
into
H&R Block.
recently more of a
So
news
my mom, she used to we'd have to go to
outlet,
like the library, I think it
but
was, and we'd get like the actual like
more has
1040
eyewitness
easy
people,
form.
like, he had
make
on people
copies
that
of
were
it at the
involved
library, pay like
in
25 cents per
the
copy.
withdrawal from
And then we
Afghanistan and
would
talk
bring them
about
home.
what actually
We each have
happened.
2
You know,
copies,
he's
and we
had,
had to do one in pencil,
you know,
which my mom would then check
lots of
over,
different stuff like
and
that.
then
It-
we had to do the
it-
It's
other
not
one
like
in pen
the
and submit to the
news
IRS.
that we know today.
He's out
And
on
I did that for like the
political
first
candidates
from like
to talk
14 to
about
18.
their
That was how I did my taxes
experience,
every
their
year.
background, and why you know, like you had.
Yeah,
I showed you Vivek.
it was a
from
great,
his
great
mom
plan. I mean, now
and
I
on
don't do
his
that. I don't do that
podcast,
anymore.
like,
But
I
as a
like-
kid, it taught
I
me how to
like
do my taxes.
a lot of the guests that he has on, and they just he tries to take on like big topics, you
I
know.
remember when I during
So,
like
I find that
I don't know how
one.
long
that would be
I filed for taxes,
my go-to.
taxes, but I sat there and
Where we
got,
heading
like,
now, boy?
the forms in the mail and stuff, and I was like, I don't know
Uh-oh.
I just read number
Going
6.
full Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Worst thing you ever spent money on.
Yeah.
This house?
Yeah.
No.
That's part of it. Part of education. It's like some certain things just
two
aren't
dogs?
taught to you
No.
that should be taught.
Dang.
Right? I mean, and that's not just like home ec classes or
great
wood
question.
shop. It's just like basic life
Before
skills.
we
So
started,
many things.
How do I do
yeah,
my
before we
taxes?
started the
You know,
podcast,
how do
I actually
change a
told
tire?
Zach a story
Just
of
the
like
things that
it wasn't
seem
the worst thing I ever
to
spent
be
money on, but
basic,
like
but are not taught to.
one night, Lex and I just spent a lot of money on shoes, and like they're all usable
Nice.
shoes, so I can't say it's the worst thing I've ever spent money on.
Yeah.
But it's like you just got on this like, I'm going to buy shoes, and you go on this binge and be like, oh, well, why did I buy
I
all
want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. It's the worst thing I ever spent.
Memes and YouTube, honestly.
I'm trying to think of big purchases, but there's always those little things like, oh, it's
Right.
$5, $10. I'll get that, and then like, oh, it's not worth the $10. That
I mean, fair.
could have had a
trying to
cheeseburger.
think because I feel like I'm generally pretty good. Like
So
I'll
I
get
had
ideas of all this stuff that I'm like, ooh, I should buy. But then I generally slow down and I'm like, okay, let's start looking at reviews and do I actually need this? You know,
Yeah. How are you normal?
So that's also where interesting.
I'd say
right?
probably
I wasn't the
what,
homeschooler
when I
that,
first
like,
became
never left
a
their
police
house
officer, I was
and
very
just
much
sat
like,
there.
oh, blue line,
Like,
blue. And so
I was part
I
of
just
a
went
lot
and
of
like
different
bought a ton of the
groups.
like
So I
kind of moto like blue
homeschooled,
line
but I also had my sister and
everything
my cousin
like
that all
t-shirts
homeschooled,
and
so
hats
we
and stuff like
together.
that, which is
my cousin was
which is funny because then I was
right
like,
ahead of me,
I was
my
a cop.
sister
I'm not
was
wearing
four
out
years ahead of
any
me.
of this out in public. Not gonna,
and then
Yeah.
show people that I
during-
was a
at different
cop. I
times
might get,
throughout
So I bought a bunch of blue
my
line
school
stuff and
years,
then
we
just
actually
never
did,
wore
like,
it.
homeschool co-op.
That's
'Cause I
good.
was-
So I was actually
So that probably was
with
like
other groups of kids
spending
and
a lot
stuff
of money
doing
on that just to
homeschool stuff.
wear them as
So
like undershirts.
I actually got other social promotion and then other like
I mean,
out of school programs that I was a part of, like ministry stuff, youth groups. And
it's gonna
stuff.
be
So I was around
anticlimactic,
other kids.
Well,
but
that's just-
honestly,
And
like,
in El Paso,
no,
where it
like,
was, there's a
as a
huge
teenager,
homeschooling community
probably
there.
sports
So there was a
jerseys.
lot of kids,
I have so many
and enough
sports
that, like,
jerseys,
we had our own
and
sports
I
teams
haven't
that
worn
played in
any
the,
of them,
private school
hardly
teams
ever.
and stuff. So I was like,
and they're all for terrible teams.
depends on
Bite
the
me.
year.
Listen,
My first 2 years.
Houston
playing
Rockets,
basketball,
Atlanta Falcons,
basketball.
Manchester United, Zenit St. Petersburg, Portugal.
I was terrible my first 2 years, but our
One of
teams
Arsenal's
went
third
to
kits from a few
like,
years ago. It was like
or,
nice and
like,
purple and
city
black.
championship.
It was a sick kit.
And
But yeah, I just
so,
I
yeah,
don't
we were good.
wear
Then
them that
the
much,
next
and
2
honestly,
years,
I
we
don't
lost
even
our
fit
coach
into
and
any of
a
them
bunch
anymore.
of, like,
So we're gonna restart and just start with some Kansas City Chiefs gear and
there we
go up
go.
from there.
I've. Is this your official
and we
like
lost, like, all
announcement
our
that
good
I've
players, so the
converted
next
you?
2 years
Yeah,
was
sure, why not?
really bad.
I'm a Chiefs fan now,
And I was,
everybody.
like, through, like, my
Let's
junior
go.
year
Welcome to the
and stuff, so
kingdom.
it
Thank
was
you,
kinda
thank you,
like
thank you, thank you.
getting where we built
Let's
the
get-
last year I played was freshman year, and we got a new coach, and he was
I know I like this
kind
one.
of
This one will be easy. We don't have to pontificate.
Okay.
Favorite recent musical
he was
album?
good, he was knowledgeable, but he was just,
Mine
like,
is
he was
Lord of the Flies and Birds and Bees by an
Because
artist
we
named
were, like,
Talk. It's all caps,
screaming,
T-A-L-K.
cussing out the kids because we
I
didn't
just
win and we're making him
stumbled
look
upon his
bad, and
music
he's
a
like, if
few
we
months
win the
ago, and then
championship
this album
year,
came
I'm gonna
out,
get
and
a billboard on the
it's a
highway
vibing
with me
album.
holding our,
See, you should know me
trophy
better
all
than that by
on,
now.
like,
I can pontificate on anything.
bro,
Yeah, but I'm not gonna let you.
That sounds like a really good
Because
leader.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So
I don't know that I
started
have a specific
Uh,
because I don't really
no,
go
he
for
had
albums
a wife and kids,
anymore with
and
modern
he
day
used to
music. It's
play
like I hear a
professional
song and I'm like, oh,
basketball in
that's
Mexico.
cool. I'll tell you like some of
That
my
doesn't
favorite
sound as
artists right now
Awesome. That's
would be
So
Luke
that's why he
Combs
thought he was,
and
like,
Morgan Wallen.
yeah. I was like, wow, NBA. That's incredible.
In Mexico.
I'm sorry
yeah. So
It's
that's
like-
kind of why he was so.
Are you apologizing for?
I mean, we did really
that you
well
like country
that
music.
season.
Oh,
we made
well,
it to the
yeah.
championship. We lost the championship.
I'm
but
from
we made
Texas.
it.
What do you expect?
That's
but
fair.
After that, I decided I was like,
Hey, all right. So those are your
no billboards
artists
for the
you've
guy? No
been,
billboard?
you've been vibing
I've
with
been
lately.
vibing on,
of course we were.
and also
we were
old
doing
school
all that.
jazz.
It is.
I've also been listening to a lot of that recently
Joe
too.
also played basketball.
Okay.
Now to that.
Probably much better than I did.
Well, to that point, so we went to private school, so but we'd also have matches and we'd
All right,
go up against
here's a very
people who were
serious
homeschooled, right? We
question.
played against like in soccer and basketball. We played
That-
against the homeschoolers, but the
Yes,
homeschoolers they were
this
really good.
is,
The bench for me was
Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna neck
And,
this
and,
one
I, and
out
I was
right
like the sixth
now.
man for like 2 seasons in a
Why
row.
is
So
relaxing
like
in jeans
it was a
so
good time.
great? Whoever
But
sent that in, you're a
my point being is
psychopath.
like
It's not
it
great, and
it was
you should
fun
probably
to kind of
seek
go
some
up
form
against
of counseling.
homeschool kids because
Wait, where-
it was for them
Number
it was
10.
quote unquote going out in some way.
Why is
and that's not to be
relaxing
pejorative on homeschool kids
Yeah.
because I
Yeah,
know several.
no,
who are
Whoever
like-
super
said
cool.
that is a psychopath.
Like some athletic
You resemble
shorts
it?
or like sweatpants.
Well, you don't resent it though. That's cool.
I
like
literally
that.
just hang out in my house
But
in
no,
my
it
underwear.
was fun to kind of go up against
because
them
I'm hot
it
all
was
the time. So
it was
why
fun
did
to
I
see
put
them
clothes
kind
on?
of interacting with other people.
Nope.
It also made us feel
All right.
regular too.
Your turn
Because
again.
private school, Oakwood was what? There was 4 people in my
Yeah,
class.
no, well, just on
We
the
probably had what
jeans,
10 people in your class.
I wouldn't
Zach?
choose to
So-
relax. I will like sit and just chill
Yeah.
if I don't want to change and I'm just like tired. But if I'm like really
Like the
wanting
whole
to-
school,
it's
was like
sweatpants,
what
bro.
150 people,
sweatpants.
like from kindergarten
Or
to
some,
12th
you
grade.
know,
Exactly. If you relax in jeans, you're a psychopath.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And but to that point, it was for us. It made us feel like regular kids too, because we would go to our college prep courses during the day, but then it was like, hey, we're gonna go to a tournament up in Vermont.
Here's an interesting
which
one.
public schools would do. They
What
yeah.
question
I don't know what was
do
the name
you
of that place.
wish
That pizza
someone
was
would
really
ask
good.
you?
Yeah. No, it might have been because we were just really young and hungry, and it was free. It was free. Yeah.
What question
Good
do you
times.
wish someone would ask you?
So,
What is that? Number
the other
28?
interesting
Yeah.
aspect, and
What's a
this is why I
question you
don't
wish someone asked you?
resent that remark is
Not would ask.
especially now that I'm older, I'm very grateful that I was
What
homeschooled
question
as
you wish
opposed to
someone
public
asked
school,
you?
Maybe I typed it down wrong.
because I feel like I did get
What's a question you wish someone asked you? Okay, yeah, you're right.
That's not
You
true.
wish someone would.
But
You wish. Oh my
I,
god.
So in high
Wish
school,
well,
I
well,
started-
Shop, shop, shop.
they had this
Yes, we both had strokes this morning.
So
I
like,
don't.
That's why we
we
can't
didn't
talk.
have
I don't know, man. Like,
AP courses right for a homeschooler, but they had I forget what it was called.
do you want $1 billion? Is that a viable answer?
Dual credit program.
I wish somebody would ask me that, but I guess then they could
where
just be
you take
asking
a
me it
test,
and not have the means to fulfill it. So.
Right.
See if you're able to, as a high schooler, your junior and senior year, each semester.
I don't know.
It's weird because then I have to like think of
3
my own
classes,
question,
5
and then nobody's asking me. I'll just answer my own question.
both college credit and high school credit for
That's
me. So
fair.
I started that as a junior.
I
I
don't know.
wish
which
someone
that was
asked
eye-opening to
me.
for the public school experience because
I don't know.
in college classes.
I'm gonna have to come back to that one.
Yeah, I'll
With
I'll have to
18-year-olds.
think on that one.
Yeah, 18-year-olds who have graduated
That's a good
high
question
school.
again from
And, like, I
a
remember my English 1301,
podcast guest
some
that
of
has
these kids,
been on a
like,
couple
you're
times.
sitting there
Ponthan
and
Jaley.
they're teaching you how to break up
Pon Jaley.
an essay
John Paley.
into paragraphs. In a college
What?
course, and they're,
Number
like,
13.
teaching you, like,
The
oh,
second
yeah, when
number
you write
13,
that,
if
you
you
have
will.
to break it into
13
like,
the sequel.
13 the sequel.
paragraphs, when you
What
started
would
in,
both
like,
of you do for a job if you could have
I
any
was
job
like,
you wanted? This.
I didn't think that I
Yeah,
was, like,
no kidding.
If I could podcast
just-
for my job, that'd be great.
and I don't still
Either
don't think I
this
was.
or
think
like
they were just
I would
advocating
love
because I was
to
like, how do you not know
just like
to, like,
the
when you write
homesteader
something, you
life,
have different
right?
paragraphs
I would
for
love
each
that.
of
Like
those.
hang out with horses, animals, out in the wood. You know, go out
It's
in
a
the
lot
woods.
of work. Like it's a lot of manual labor, though.
You know, those
Yeah,
classes that
but-
they, like,
No, this is my
people,
this is my
like,
shtick.
are they
And
really
then
that
in
fun?
my
entertainment.
downtime from that,
I don't know, maybe it was
come do
just trying to be
podcasts.
No, I mean that kind of
So
touches
I'll
on
do
my
it
point
full
earlier
time to
about
keep
when I
it
went to
going.
summer school. It's the same
While
thing,
we
where
all
it's
live
like,
on your
we thought
homestead.
what we were doing
When I
was
get like
regular,
1,000
but
acres
we
and
were
I start
honestly
breaking
being
it up
pushed,
into family
I guess,
plots.
beyond the norm. But then when
Whenever
we,
that
when we
happens,
went
I'll give you
outside
money
of
for
our
it.
regular
We'll figure
school
it out.
institution, we saw what other
What a
people
good
were doing,
question.
and we're like, oh my god.
That was also from Michaela.
Like,
Michaela, you're
what's
asking.
happening?
Very great question.
I started at Hudson Valley when I was 16. So like
Your jaw just dropped at a question, so now you have to read it.
did
I saw the one.
homeschool.
Again, good question from Michaela. Although could stir some
Nice.
Like my parents had gotten like
some interesting responses from family members. For Thanksgiving dinner, if you could trade one family member
That's good. This
for
is,
one
this is good.
celebrity, who would it be?
and then I got my good enough
Do it.
I would trade my entire family for Thanksgiving dinner with Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Like if he sent me an Instagram message and was like, "Hey, I want you to come down to my home and have Thanksgiving with me and my family," I'd be like, "Okay." I'd leave Lex up here with her family. If it was only me, I'd be down there in a heartbeat.
You're like, peace out, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. No remorse. That's a
Me and
once in a
the
lifetime
Rock.
opportunity.
You're like, I have friends.
I was homeschooled for a year, and before that, I was
What
in school
celebrity?
with 2 people.
Part of
in
me
it, so
wanted
I
to
just
do
wanna
like
have some friends.
a Michael Scott answer from The Office. What does he say? I'd invite like one of I forget one of the kids' names, one of the Jolie Pits, and he said because that way either Brad or Angelina would have to come at the end of the night to pick him up.
To pick him up.
He was like 42 or 43. His name was Terrence. Absolute teddy bear of a human.
I don't know. That's a tough.
Grasp the concept of math. And the T-shirt was
I probably would go with
college level.
Chris Pratt. I just enjoy Chris Pratt. I loved him in Parks and Rec. I love him in the MCU.
All right, so for which family member?
It was me and 2 other friends hoping this dude Terrence grasped the concept of math, and like he finished with a C, and he was so freaking happy.
He's like,
I
I
was,
passed.
I was like, what a good feeling.
That's a
this is.
tough decision.
Well, it's
because
interesting,
I'm
like,
who's gonna
So
get
for me,
mad?
growing up, my mom was really strict with like
This
school
part's not going to
and
say it,
grades.
but
Like,
that's
school
why I
was the
answered it
most
how I
important thing.
did.
Like we were poor,
Because
we
I
didn't have
immediately
anything.
texted
Like,
Brian
sometimes we'd have
McCallum
hot dog
'cause
water
she did it
and
in a
like
text, and I was
open
like,
faced mustard sandwiches
"Oh,
for dinner.
I'd swap
But
out my mom for
because
the
all
Rock."
the money would go to paying for private school because that's what.
And
my
I was
mom
like, I
thought
can't
important,
ask
and
it
she's
because
not
like.
wrong.
But
But
then
my
I
point
realized
being
I
is
could save
like
my whole family.
for us, like the
So
standard
we can
was
resume the podcast with you
if
saying,
you got less than a 90
My
on
answer,
anything,
if you want
it
to,
was
except with
considered
Chris
that you
Pratt.
failed.
I was gonna
It wasn't like, hey, you
say,
gotta be, talk your best, like,
I might
do better
have
next
to
time.
steal
It's
your
like,
answer
no,
just
you
so I
failed.
don't
You are a
offend people.
failure.
I'll keep my
And
wife,
it,
but
like the
I'll
shame
trade
of that
Chris.
was just it was
I'll
horrific.
have
I remember one year
Chris Pratt.
I was probably like
Man.
I don't know.
You're good.
Maybe 13,
I was
14, we
willing to
did
sell
ski
my
club. I
wife
think
up
we did
the
ski
river,
club.
too.
She was that, yeah. So we did ski club every year.
Like slopes.
All right.
Yeah. I snowboard. So
Sorry, I'm from the
It
south.
wasn't
I
private
know.
enough where we were shooting.
This is confusing.
yeah, no,
but
ski
I'm just
club.
curious.
So we'd go skiing
what your
after
answer would
what
be.
on Fridays I think it was
Number
at
23.
Willard Mountain up in Greenwich.
What mammal
times. So we-
/ spider?
Yeah,
crossover
yeah. You can
would
see the
you
bottom from the
choose?
top. It's
Does that
not
mean as a
big.
pet?
It was
as,
fun, and again,
a
to feel like normal
weapon?
kids. So anyway,
I'm assuming
so I
that's
remember one
as
year
like
I got
a
an
pet.
89.4
So
average for like that quarter.
mammal
89.4.
spider,
Now in
hybrid.
now in
I would take
Oakwood,
the
like if you got
scorpion
89.5, they'd round it up to the nearest
Is a scorpion a spider?
decimal point. So you'd get a 90.
Ah.
I
So I
don't
had
think so.
89.4.
They may be
and
arachnids, I don't know.
I was
it's not
just
a
devastated.
spider,
And
but they're
I
an
went to my mom,
arachnid.
please, like,
Well, one player,
please.
right,
And she's like,
right.
no, you're
So-
grounded for the whole winter.
Picks a
Like
different
the next,
animal.
so basically the whole
type of spider. Do I?
yeah,
'Cause that's just
that whole
No.
next quarter I
I don't think
couldn't
you
do
have to
anything.
type of
So there was no snowboarding, there
Can
was
my
no
dog
youth
have
group,
8
there was
legs?
no hanging with my friends,
Sure,
no
why
video
not?
games, no
Yeah, why
TV,
not?
nothing. It
So
was
I can
like,
have
you
a
need to
spider
be
dog?
Be steady.
Spider
Um,
pig.
but that was-
Spider
Spider
pig
the standard of
does
it.
whatever a spider
I
pig
mean, to that
does.
same point, I remember there's another year. I think probably the year I failed.
I mean,
Pig,
pig,
too,
spider
I mentioned
pig.
earlier.
That's my
It was
Yeah,
like
I'm
that
gonna go
whole
spider
summer I
pig
was
too.
also grounded.
Why not?
So like I would go to
For
summer
somebody
school.
who's got 3
like,
pigs
it was
tattooed
8
on his
a.m.
arm, he
we'd
has
be
to pick
on the
spider
bus,
pig.
Yeah.
and then
But
I'd
you
be
think
there
about
until,
that,
like,
that's kind of a
2 p.m.
creepy
It was
idea.
the
Like
longest day
imagine,
ever.
so
I'd
I like to go
drive an
hunt.
hour.
Imagine
Oh,
if
yeah,
I
sorry.
was
No, it
out
was
there
a
and
really long day in
spider
school.
deer, and
I'd
all of a
come
sudden
from
this
school,
deer
I'd do
with
my
like 8
chores.
legs starts
I would go to
crawling
work.
through
'cause I had a job
the-
at the time for
Never
like 3
mind.
hours a day. Go to work, I'd come home. and
Yeah.
that's all I could do. was
Nightmares.
homework. That's it. Like my friends,
This
my sisters,
has been a
they'd be out
question
having
I've been
fun. They'd be
wanting
having
to
fun in the house
double
with
back
me, and I'd
to.
be like
Oh,
sitting
wait,
in
it's
the
your
corner
turn. I'm
with my
sorry.
textbooks, like weeping.
Go ahead.
You know, because at that point I was like,
Yeah.
14,
Thanks, buddy.
15 years old. You know, so
attitude
I'm like,
coming
a
off of him
teenager,
right
and
now
it's like you're coming into your own and trying to, make friends and be social.
Oh,
And meanwhile, like, I spend the whole summer.
See,
with
you're
my
not even
head
ready.
buried in the books.
I was not
But
prepared.
that's not a bad thing, right? I mean, because now. And,
Okay, hold on.
But so,
This one-
being in law school now,
From
it's
the
like it's giving me
executive
that
producer,
drive to
it's 2
to
questions in
succeed
one.
and to give it that motivation to do well. because
Miss
it was,
executive
literally beaten
producer
into me
number
as a child, like
17.
you
I
will do
forgot
well.
to- I forgot to
and
space them
that's
apart.
just
That's my
kinda
bad.
how I came up.
That's what
2
happens.
Questions.
So my wife, our executive producer, is currently out of state, and so this is what happens when she's not here to help me. I screw up her entry. But go ahead, ask the first one because
Okay.
they don't go
Yeah,
together.
I mean-
or ask whichever one you want.
Obviously,
What's your dream vacation?
Your mom's house.
I knew you
Yeah, so out of high
I'll fight
school,
you.
out of high
Well,
school,
you'll win, too.
I
Oh man, that's
so
So-
it's a long
I gotta
high school,
imagine like I
I
have
was
the
convinced
means
that
to
I
make
wanted
it a
to
dream
be
big. Like
in
everything I
radio
dream
and do
of.
like
So I'm
TV
talking
and
like
like on air.
So if we're
take the
talking
train
that-
from everywhere.
So
I'm
I went to
getting
school for that
driven
for-
around, so I don't have to
yeah,
drive in
Hudson
these
Valley
foreign
was a kid.
countries.
and
I want to visit everywhere over in Europe. So I'd love to hit up
yeah,
like
so
soccer
I got
matches in
my associate's was in
England and-
applied sciences.
Go
and
see a
broadcast journalism was, like,
Manchester
the
United game
undergrad
live.
thing.
Yes.
So I did that
That's definitely it.
for
That's-
That'd
like,
be cool.
That's an
2
achievable
And then
goal.
I went to actual
Not a
like,
2-month trip
trade
around
school,
Europe.
quote unquote,
I
to
don't
be
think
in
I'll
radio.
unless
so,
I
like,
podcast
you go to
full
like
time and I
a
get to do
studio
live
and
shows
you
with
do
you
like
around
And we
the
start
actual radio show
traveling
every day
for our
and, you know, you learn how to
How
cut
wild
together
would that
commercials,
be?
do production.
We'd have to
all that
get
kind of stuff.
way more famous. So all our
and
listeners,
I did that for
like, share,
I actually worked
subscribe.
for a few,
all of our
years, for
listeners
2 or 3
just
years after
Got
that.
one listener, and then
but I
they all
hated
got
it.
one listener.
in 9 years.
Working for a local radio station, did you have
Yeah,
but that's
no,
a great.
no,
I mean,
no,
so
so-
do you want to alter your dream vacation answer? Like,
So
do you
a
want
little
I
bit
mean,
more
I would
big
just
picture.
add to it. Would
I
be
worked
like
for
Ireland,
a
Scotland,
station
like
up in
seeing
Lake
all these
George.
cool places.
I was the weekend night host, and I would basically
Yeah.
every Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
That's
I'd
like-
be
because
on the air from
there's
like 3
other
p.m.
places
till
that I
midnight,
would like
right?
to see too,
And
but that would be
with the
like
first,
my main.
I think 8 hours of that
my
would
main
be
thing.
just on the air. You know, you're doing
the question I was
voice
gonna ask
tracking. You're
before I
doing
cut Zach
commercial
off
breaks, talking about
was-
songs.
will you get me
talking
another
about new
drink? No.
artists, introducing new songs,
number
new
24.
artists, talking about promotions, things like that. And, then
And it's a question
the last
I've
hour,
been
hour and
wanting to do
half
with you
of,
for a
like, the
while
workday, quote
because
unquote, would
it was
be,
in
like, cutting
my
commercials.
teaser
So, like, when
episode,
you
which
hear
came
a
out
commercial on the
almost
radio
5
it's
months
typically
ago at this point.
DJs who work for the station who are just
I think it came out in
reading
July.
a script for whatever the product might be.
Oh yeah, it came out in June because
I'll do
July
that.
was real episode.
Yeah.
So I did that for about 2 or
So
3
what
years.
made you guys want to start a
And
podcast?
then one day I kind of woke
what
up
made
and I
Zach
was like,
Jenkins
I
want to
hate
join?
this, which is odd because now I'm talking to a microphone
So-
again. But I literally
I mean,
hated
what
it.
made me want to start
Yeah,
it
it's
is
different because that's to your point.
I wanted a
that
hobby.
life.
I needed
it's
a hobby.
Very lonely because you're literally in a room that's
I've
by yourself.
wanted
It's
to for
8 by 10, the size
couple
of a prison
years,
cell.
but
It's
I
it's
figured
tiny.
it would fail
Padded
and
walls.
nobody
You
would
feel like you're,
listen.
in like a psych
And
ward.
then the
And
more I got
you
my
need to, like,
anxiety
pretend
under
to be
control,
happy
the
and
more I
sound happy,
realized
even though it's
that
like 10 o'clock at night.
failure was
You've been
just
up
me
since 6
not
a.m.
doing
tired.
it because
You're like, hey guys,
I thought
my
other
name's
people
Joe.
wouldn't
You know,
care about
it's
it.
like
But really, failure is just
I did. I
failure is not attempting
Damien. My name was
in the
Damien.
face of adversity. And
I think I picked it. I picked it.
I don't think
No,
it's a failure at
Damien
all. We
Jacobs,
get,
I think
like,
was my name on the radio.
usually around 50,
Yeah, kind of a cool name.
60 listens an episode.
Yeah.
Above that on some of the more popular ones.
Damien Jacobs in your ear.
Yeah, I did it 'cause I
So,
wanted a
so
hobby
that-
and
but it was really lonely.
figured I could
lonely,
use it
like
as a
said. So
platform
it was like,
to
I need to get
meet
out of
with
this.
people, talk about things.
At the time, I was
I've never
doing
talked
radio
about or talk about
and
things
also
I'm
working
passionate
at
about.
Cracker
And
Barrel was my
then
first
Zach
job out of high school.
Jenkins.
I was a server
So
there, oddly enough.
I know
Yeah, I was there
that
for
it was
3 or 4
actually
years.
a long time
But,
before you started the podcast.
Sure.
When my wife and I were still dating, there was one of the times we were
No,
all
no, it's
like
horrible.
hanging out.
I mean, yes and no.
And you and I joked.
Yeah, Cracker Barrel, it's
we
not
joked
real.
about starting a podcast.
Yeah,
We did.
yeah.
He didn't know I wasn't joking though.
Yeah, and we don't want to.
Yeah.
We don't want to get
Because
sued.
I was like,
we don't
yeah,
want to get
that'd
sued.
be
So
a
we're not
fun
gonna be
idea. Like,
libelous here.
Was
but-
that when I broke the chair
I'm
at
not
your
a,
house?
I'm not a great
no,
fan
we were
Lived
already
up-
married.
lived up
of
here,
the
yeah.
second
Obviously,
chair.
personally.
Come on, bro.
I forgot
But
about
so I was
No,
working
that
at the
was-
time,
I-
and I remember
We were
I
out at, like,
didn't like that job. I
Yes,
hated
like,
my radio
would you be
job,
willing to do it? And I was like,
and I
Funny you
wanted
ask.
to do something different.
I'm super down.
So,
Absolutely.
I remember
down.
one day I was
Basically
actually
what
at
he's
the
saying
mall
is he
over
waited-
here in Albany.
He waited
and
until I bought all the
was going
equipment
shopping for like,
and
new clothes or
spent
something like that.
most of the money up
And
front
I
before he
walked
decided to
past
sign up.
the
Yeah.
Cheesecake
I
Factory,
was
and I
like-
was like,
I'll let him.
yeah, and I remember I was
I'll
walking like
just,
through the mall, and they had these
sneak
big
in.
windows that you could see into the dining room, and it was like a Tuesday lunch, and it was busy as heck.
Pause.
I'm like, how is it so busy right now? And all like the servers, they look so happy, and like
I like this.
comparative to my job at the time, I was like, man, everyone that I could work with is miserable. So I walked in, and again, this is years and years ago, and like they still had paper applications. You couldn't even apply online. It was, hey, here's an application, go fill this out. So I filled out the application like that day, and I hired that day, and I started to work. I started working the following like Monday or something like that. So I did that. I served there for about 3 years. Oh, I'm sorry, served there for about a year. And in that time, I actually got fired from the radio station. So I got fired from the radio station because I missed a promotional event, and those things are a really big deal because essentially,
They
like,
really went downhill though.
the station
Yeah.
is being paid by
Well, it's
whatever
'cause the
vendor
ones
it is to
started
come
getting
to
into
whatever
movies,
event it
and then
is
the
to
group
promote
just
said
kinda
event.
fell apart.
So I remember I was supposed to go to this event for like I think Toyota, like one of the car dealers.
believe
Toyota, maybe
I
Lee
believe
Kia,
it's
I don't
your
know. And I
question,
was supposed to be there
Senor Yak.
at 5 a.m. to start because the broadcast would go out at 6 a.m. And I misread the direction, so I thought it was supposed to be 5 p.m. starting at 6 p.m. So I worked
The anonymous.
that morning at Cracker Barrel thinking
You
I was
finally
like,
got
I'm not
to
gonna choose
work.
that one.
I'm,
my
I'll,
phone's,
I'll
like,
read
blowing up
that
in my
one.
pocket the whole time. I'm like, well, I was busy, so I didn't have time to like read the text messages and answer the phone. So I got to work, and it's my boss like freaking
This
out.
one is a really good
So yeah, so I got
question.
fired.
This one's gonna
it's
be
all good.
really
We all
hard
learn
for me to
things.
answer.
So at this point I'm only
You
at
can
Cheesecake
only
Factory,
choose
and I'm
one
serving there for about
to
a
watch
year
for
and
the
a couple
rest
months.
of your life.
And in that time, I would go and open up new
DC,
restaurants.
Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter.
As a server,
or
like, I'll
Star
go
Wars,
and train
which
new
is-
servers, like how to like.
There's one I
work
can
at
rule out
Cheesecake
right off
Factory
the
and,
bat.
like, how to do your job. So I did that
DC.
for a couple of years, and
I'm
I
sorry,
opened like 2 or 3
DC
restaurants up.
Universe
And then
movies
I
have
remember
not
one time I
been
came back from
great.
one of those restaurant openings,
No,
and
like
all of
DC
my
Universe
friends were asked to
shows,
become managers,
movies.
right? Except for me.
I do like them.
And I
love
was
DC
like,
comics.
I was
like
yeah,
they'll always hold special.
that can't be
But
right.
if we're talking about watching,
maybe.
I definitely got to
read
rule
it that
that
way
one
if you
out
want to.
too.
But I don't know. I was
And that's the
insanely
thing, right? I
jealous,
love-
and was
I
like,
love a
well,
lot of the
how come I can't be a
DC
manager? So I went to the
superheroes, villains.
GM at the
There's-
time, the
there's a lot
recruiting
of cool
coordinator.
stuff
I'm like,
there,
hey, I'm
but
like, I
as
wanna
a
be manager too. Now,
cinematic
did I really want to be manager?
world,
No,
they're-
I just didn't want to be
they're-
left
they're
out.
just
That's
not up
what it came
to
down
the
to.
rest.
I feel like I want to give
severe
two
FOMO, I
answers
guess
for
you'd call
this.
it.
Okay.
And
Because
so like, yeah, you can be a manager.
like,
And I
which
just
is
kinda,
my
like, fell into
favorite to
that.
watch? The answer is Harry
then I-
Potter. I will watch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
All,
So I
all the
became
movies
manager. I was
once a
22
month if you
at the
want
time.
me to.
I was really young.
But there's a
I was really young.
limitation on that.
And
So for the rest of my
I
life,
did that for
I mean,
God, 12 years.
I can't imagine
Actually,
they'd
yeah.
ever get boring. But
Initially, my plan was
they probably
first 5
would.
years. I'll do it
But
for
by
5
the
years.
time I
That's
hit,
it.
you know,
I'll be
87,
manager
88
till
or
I'm
so.
27, and then I'll be done.
So,
That was the plan.
like,
But, you know,
do I hedge
how
my
it is.
bets
You know,
and be like,
you're
well, now I
young,
got to pick
and you-
stuff
and you
with the
make
most
dumb choices.
content,
You don't
really
realize how the
space
world
it
really
out.
works,
Because
you know?
Marvel, you're
'Cause then it's like
talking
where you're making,
the
you know, really
cartoons,
money,
you're talking
Yeah.
Get health
the
insurance, you get all these
MCU, you're
benefits,
talking
you
about
get
the
free
shows.
food. Like,
true.
so your schedule is
But with
somewhat
that-
malleable. You know, it was
Honestly,
a good life.
So,
But
Lord of the
it's a good
Rings,
life
I'll
when
have
you're
to
young.
rule out as well.
You know,
I love
and
it.
one day I woke up, I was like
Phenomenal
30 at the
movies.
time.
I
I'm like,
love
I
The Lord of
hate-
the Rings,
I hate
but
I hate it because you know it's
Kinda
you're busy all
similar
the time,
thing.
but it's like you
They're-
go to work
they're
at 3 o'clock in the
limited.
afternoon, get out at 2 o'clock in the morning, and have to
great
get back to work at
movies.
9
I
a.m.
like the
till
original
9 p.m.
trilogy better than
and then go home.
the
sleep,
Hobbit
shower,
I
movies.
never
shave,
watched the Hobbit trilogy.
all that. You're
if I'm
back
being
to work the
honest
next
with you.
morning at 6 a.m.
I heard I wasn't
You know,
missing.
and that's on the weekend. So like you
They
can't see your
changed
friends,
some
can't
stuff
see your
that
family.
made things a little
Also-
weird, and
also
there's
the
just too much
holidays,
CGI.
nights,
I
weekends,
like
they're
that the
just
original one
consumed by
relied more
this
on
beast
actual
of your job.
visual
So you have no
effects,
social
makeup
life
rather
to a
than
degree. You can fit it in
CGI.
here and
There's
there,
too
but
much
it's like
CGI in
it's,
the
it's
Hobbit,
sporadic,
in my opinion.
and it doesn't really
Um,
fit in with being who
But
I want to
I
be.
honestly,
like, as an adult, and, like,
so
have, like, friends
I
and
love
social
Harry
life and
Potter,
family.
but I
So,
also I love
I'm
Star
like, I need to
Wars
find, like,
and
an
Marvel
off-ramp.
more.
I need to get out of this.
So
I
it's
need to get
really
out.
between those two, and
but
if
again,
I have to
it's
choose
hard to kinda-
between Marvel and Star
At
Wars,
30 years old now,
I
figure
gotta
out
go
like
Star Wars. I'm a Star
how do I
Wars
get out of
nerd
this?
to the core.
in something
And
established for like a
kind of like
decade.
you said,
yeah, oh yeah, you know, because that.
it's on par with Marvel as far as so many
Well, I mean, he's homeschooled. He doesn't know
shows
anything.
and movies and stuff.
about
Marvel
real
has
life.
more, but it's still
I feel like
And feel free to
if I
jump
just
in
twist
anytime
a
here.
word of the question.
So then, again, I'm like 30
Like,
years old. And I'm like,
you can
I hate
only
my
choose
life.
one
I need to do something else. But you know, change
content
is hard
for the
you know?
rest of
You
your
step
life.
out into the unknown.
It's
and
hands
like,
down Star Wars
You step
for
out
me.
of being comfortable.
Because then you get
Imagine
all the
being in the same
books, you
job
get
for
all the
10 years. It's
novels,
like,
you
it's
get all the
comfortable.
everything.
You know, and it's like, well,
And Marvel
you see all the
obviously
stuff
has
out-
comic
out
books
there,
and all that
oh,
stuff
I could
too,
do
but
that, then you're
I know
like,
I would
well,
enjoy the
Star Wars
maybe
Legend.
what I have now-
oh my
the Star Wars
gosh.
Maybe what I
lore
have
that
here is
builds
good.
upon
It's
itself is
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
I would probably pick
and
Star Wars too.
I just became more and more just
I'm glad
disassociated with my
I'm
life,
glad
my
we
job.
both
I
picked
just
the
hated it.
correct answer.
That was
so
a great
when
question.
one day one of the bartenders at the restaurant was going to like U Albany.
Man, some of these
and he was
questions are
going
going to get
to
us in
sign up
trouble
for
too. I
classes,
don't know
and
why
he
we're
was telling
saving
me
all the
about
hard
going
questions
down
to
to
the
sign
end.
up for
So
classes.
I'm just going to bust
And he's
out
like, hey,
with
Joe, you should come
number
with me.
12.
And I'm like, nah.
One take about
Why?
a topic you feel
What am I
so
going to go pay
strongly
80 grand
about.
for? You know, because
But I guess I could have a
how many people do you know that
strong
have, that nice
take
piece
on
of
a
paper up
dumb
on the wall that
topic.
costs 80 grand and they're still
Yeah.
working at, mom and pop shop doing
Drinking and
nothing. It has
driving,
to do
why
with
is it
that
illegal?
Piece of paper on the wall. They're not,
Still servers.
right, exactly. Exactly. They're not using that
your-
degree. So why am I
your
going to go
strong
spend 80
take,
grand on
your
this,
hot
on
take.
this degree that I don't really need or want, right?
I
So-
like
I tell my mom about
I'll be honest with everybody,
interaction that I had with the bartender.
the-
and she's like,
the
you should go."
strongest thing I
And
have
I'm like, well,
on like a
I'm
hot
like, why?
take about a thing.
And again, I gave her the
I
same
can't say on the
answer I gave
podcast
you. Like,
because
it's dumb. Like,
they just
half
can't
of them
do
work
it.
for
It'll
me,
be
they
too
have degrees in
controversial.
English
Yeah,
and
like,
psychology,
it'll be-
blah,
it'll
blah,
be way
I'm not
too
using
much.
There's degrees. So why am I gonna do that, Mom? That's foolish.
Yeah.
And
I
she's
was
like,
gonna
"Oh,
say
Joseph, go
some
take one of those like career aptitude tests.
the things that I
And now
feel
I'm
the
just like, this is
strongest
ridiculous.
about are
Like, I'm not
gonna
gonna do
be
this,
very
you know.
controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
topics.
yeah, exactly. So
So I don't know how much
I'm
we
like, fine. I'm like, fine, Mom. I'll
into
go home. I'll
those,
take this test. So
but,
I go online. It was like mynextmove.com. I think it was
well,
something like
I
that.
feel like
and it
this
was like a
isn't
hour-long,
controversial,
like,
but I do feel
test where you
strongly
answer all
about
these
it.
questions about your proclivities and things
There
you
either
like,
needs
things
to
you don't
be
like.
age
And,
limitations,
So take the test.
term
and
limits,
it was
or
the top
cognitive
three
tests
answers were number one
for-
was be a lawyer.
Hallelujah.
Number
Preach.
2 was
for
be
government
a
officials.
politician, I
Yes.
think, and
Term limits.
number 3 was be a teacher.
'Cause-
And instantly, to your point,
Term
Zach,
limits and
I
salary
was
caps.
like
Yes.
firing up the
All of
excuse
that.
machine about why I couldn't do any of these.
Because like
things.
I have so many
feel very
patients.
strongly
Yeah,
about
No,
that.
so many
immediately I was
patients
like,
in my office
lawyer,
that get
I'm like,
evaluated
it
for
costs
like
so much money.
dementia and stuff.
It's 3 years
and I'm
long.
like,
it's
younger
really
than
hard.
yeah, they're young.
government
You know,
officials.
Yeah,
listen, I
like
can't
what?
work at the same
What
time.
is that?
I have all
It's
these excuses.
just
Number
asinine
2,
to me.
be a
We're not letting these people
blah,
drive,
blah,
but
you know,
but
degenerate
we have
certain
other
problems on
exactly.
cheese. I'm like,
So I'd say that's
I don't
one
need
that,
any of
like,
that.
I
in my
feel like a
life.
lot of people
Being a
can
teacher, I don't
agree
want
with
to do
that.
that. I hate kids.
Term limits
You know, they're
and
all
salary caps. You
yeah,
shouldn't
yeah.
be able to vote. Like, if I
and
could
those who
vote
can't
for,
teach
to,
teach
to
gym.
make
what I hear.
to increase my salary,
so
like,
I'm
of
like-
course, who's not going to do that?
Yeah.
Right. I vote to give me more money. Of course I do. Right? Like
No,
that's
no.
such
I
a
already
dumb-
have
I
too
hadn't
much.
thought
Let's
about
That
give
this,
it
is
and
such
honestly,
a
that's
dumb
definitely
idea.
probably not
Like,
wrong.
who is going to vote no?
But so I
Yeah.
took the test, and those are the answers.
All right,
and
what's next?
I'm like, you know, again, I'm trying to come up with all these excuses about why I don't want to do
in
it.
the spirit of that
And,
same question,
And
let's
I
hit-
called my mom with the
let's
results. My
do
mom,
another,
this is what the test said. I'm like, this is really dumb.
hard-hitting
Blah
one.
blah. And she's
What
like, no, you
is
should be a
one
lawyer.
belief or philosophy
I'm like,
that you
"Mom,"
vehemently
because you know how it is. You listen to your
agree-
mom. You know, she tells you
disagree
something, and you're like,
vehemently disagree with?
"No, mom's usually
Vehemently,
right."
if you will.
Usually, right?
Vehemently.
So I'm like, okay.
Vehemently.
For the most part, mom's usually right.
So,
I'm like,
belief
fine,
or
I'll look into it.
philosophy?
you know, and then fast forward.
I-
two, 3 years
I
later,
have
I'm in,
so a
going to second
philosophy
year law
that I
school. You know, and it's
vehemently
like
disagree
it's wild
with
to
would
think
be,
that that's all kind of
moral
transpired.
relativism.
But
right? Because without so more
Yeah, explain it for the people
Moral-
listening. Definitely
moral
them.
relativism, right? Is your truth is your truth, my truth is my truth. You know, morality is relative to. So it really leaves. There,
yeah, there's definitely
Nothing
a
means
gap
anything
there, and
then.
definitely a curve.
What's true for me is true for
but
you.
a lot of the
me, and
skills
what's
you
true for
learn
is true
in
for
the
you. What
restaurant
if my
industry
truth says
definitely
yours is a lie?
transferred. But there was definitely, I guess, a
Like,
financial
it's
piece.
just
That was the biggest
dumb stuff.
part of my
Nothing
life where I
means
was like,
anything at that
I
point.
need to have a plan
Because it's all
you
subjective.
know, because it's not just I'm gonna
Which
go to
at that
school.
point makes
it's like, well,
no
you need to
right
have
and no
money to
wrong,
live
because
off while
what
you're
if
in
it's right
school.
for
You need
me?
to have
When it's wrong for you, well then
a
it's right.
plan
for me.
financially.
You know, it's just
school obviously is expensive, not just textbooks, but just you can't really work really at all. The first year they're like, you can't work more than 20 hours, and literally you
It's
cannot.
just too subjective.
It's not
Nothing
physically
means
possible.
anything anymore.
Just the
I mean, I'm
yeah,
coming.
yeah, of
and
course,
mine,
it
I'm
is
coming
utterly
in
insane.
from a more
So
religious
at the
standpoint,
time,
but I think it.
I put in my 1 year notice at the restaurant. I
Even
gave
if
them a year.
you're
I'm
not
like, listen,
religious
on
or
this
whatever,
day,
is
August
the,
16th,
you know, the
2022,
idea of
is my last day.
predestination. I know that's a thing.
So in that
That's
time,
called
I essentially
lot.
stopped spending money on
But, like,
anything. If I didn't need it,
I don't believe
didn't
we live
buy
in a
it. It was
script.
like I ate ramen noodles for
life's
like
not
a year.
rigged.
Like, I just didn't buy anything.
But
I agree.
And then
It's
I
way
bought
more
a 2-family house. So that way
complicated
when
than
I was in
that.
law school, I wouldn't need to worry about having to pay for my rent. You know, kind of
and I
thing.
would say we could turn it into a whole other
And I just
episode, but
essentially
we're
saved
never going to
every
do that.
dime that I could
Okay, I'm not going to
possibly
say
save.
never.
Um,
But I have no idea what that looked
and
like.
then started
because
law school.
That
But
would get
most of
confusing very quickly.
the change, I guess,
that's
really
mine.
came down to
Yeah.
like, I'm not really sure if I'm
I'm
going
gonna
to
ask you a question off the
this.
podcast.
It
now.
came down to the fact that I
Well, I'm
didn't
going to
want
ask you now before I
waste the
forget
next 3
because it
years.
was something Pastor
You know,
Charlie
and
said.
that was really the thought process for me, where it was like, whether I go to law school or not, these
He's
3
talking
years are
about
going to go
how
past
he doesn't believe
either way.
that
You know, and I didn't want to wake up and be 37.
once you're saved,
and
you're
still be in the
always
same spot.
saved.
You know, and it came down to the fact that, listen,
that he
Jones, you know what?
believe that
If I
either.
do this
Okay.
thing,
Because
and
the
I
Bible
hate it,
clearly
I'll have the
states,
degree,
talks
and,
about
you know,
those
having
that have
JD
followed
opens
God
up a lot of
and
doors for
fallen
you.
away
Absolutely.
are
And I
basically
could say I
worse
went
off
and did
than if
because
they
I
never
wanted to do this
believed
thing.
in God.
Right.
You know,
and like he backed it
um,
up with like scripture and
and I
everything.
think
But,
that,
like I know.
now that I'm in
a
it
lot of
and looking
people who
back,
believe,
Once
2 years
saved,
ago, I'm
always
like,
saved.
thank
I
God.
said the prayer.
Thank
I'm
God
good
I'm
to
not
go.
fucking
Like,
out of
no,
this
the
thing.
Bible
And that's not to
clearly-
be, pejorative on
To
the
me,
restaurant because
clearly
it
addresses
gave me so much. in
and
my
talks
life.
about like
I can't.
I mean, it
at
talks
all
about
be
signs
excited
of the
about
end
it. Like,
times
it's
is
given me
the hearts of many will
friends
grow
and
cold.
I've met so many
Take heed not to
interesting
be
people and
deceived.
connections
and
and
fall away.
obviously
Like
certain
it
life
talks
skills
about
that I
they're
mentioned, they
believers,
transfer over from
and I
working
don't
in
think it's
restaurant
like
to being in
oh
law
people
school
that
because
followed
talk to anybody.
Jesus but didn't.
you know, and there's no.
They weren't
I'm
actually
afraid to
saved.
speak
No,
to
I
people.
believe it's
or
talking about true
I have
believers
stage
that
fright.
fall
'cause,
away.
You're constantly as a manager. You're on stage.
So
All
All
the
right, so
time
we got
in
some
a
hard
restaurant.
hitting questions
High
out of the
conflict.
way
I mean,
there.
I could tell you stories about the
Let's
restaurant.
lighten it up.
They'd scare you.
Let's lighten it up.
But they teach you, like I said, like conflict
I think it's
resolution.
my turn. You
Oh,
just
it
had
is
a
your
philosophy
turn.
one.
Compose.
So
and
I'm gonna
have
go
a
down.
strong
This was
demeanor even though you're
submitted
under high pressure and high stress.
anonymously.
And
in
people
fact,
go, yes,
Anonymous.
those-
so you
those
could have
things,
submitted
they
questions
can't
to the
really be
website,
taught
which is
to
how
you
I
in
got a
the
lot.
classroom.
You can
They
put
really
whatever
can't.
you want
You
in
have to
the
learn
name
those things,
section.
you
You
know,
didn't have to put
in
your
the
name.
fire.
So
You
this
know,
person,
and you're out there experiencing it exactly.
pro-
Obviously,
don't
you were
worry
taught
about
before.
it in
Those
the name
skills, they
section.
transfer
I've got
to
a good
whatever
answer
you're
to this
doing,
question by the way.
beyond that.
Anyways,
And then the
go ahead.
question was, who's been your favorite guest so far, and why is it Nate Ryan? Sincerely, totally not Nate Ryan.
Well,
I don't know.
anonymous
Yeah, so
question asker.
yeah,
Who's
so
totally not Nate Ryan.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
not Nate
definitely
Ryan.
not Nate Ryan. I would
American law
say
is a
the
thing.
favorite
So
guest
you could be in like the
of the
JAG Corps and you
podcast
could be like a military lawyer. That's the thing.
has to be Zach Jenkins because
it's
he
not.
went from guest to co-host.
Yeah.
Boom! Tomato, tomato.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That being said,
Nate Ryan's a close second.
on a very real level.
Oh yeah, like, I'm so
Nate,
new right now.
listen
There's
to the
so many,
anxiety episode.
Well,
If he
definitely.
wanted to talk,
There's so many different
Does he have a name?
opportunities that are out there with the law. There's so
podcast?
many
I
different
believe
types
it's
of
the
laws you mentioned,
518
like,
Catalyst.
obviously maritime law is one, but
Okay.
there's property,
I
business
could
law,
be
trust and
mistaken,
estates.
though.
So for our
litigation,
listeners, just
labor,
watch out
employment.
for us.
Yeah, when-
So
when-
once
I've been
it's set up,
interning
we'll
this summer
leave a link
at a law
and
firm
we'll
over
give him a shout
in
out.
Corporate
and
Woods doing a
link
lot
to
of labor
his
and employment law. 'Cause I kind of
podcast.
was informed by my life
all his
before working at
pages and
Cheesecake
everything.
Factory and
Yeah,
hiring
but
people.
he's.
So I kind of
I mean, he's
did that
a
this
great
summer,
speaker,
and I enjoy it.
He
It's
has
really
a
interesting.
lot of friends with
But then this fall,
a lot of friends
this
with
fall
knowledge about
semester, I'll
different
be
things. So I'm
at
excited. I'm
the,
really super
Albany
excited
County
for him
DA's
to start
office
making
doing,
episodes
like,
so I
criminal
can listen to him
investigations.
and
So you
maybe
kind
even
of
get some.
while you're in law school, you
tricks
kinda
of
experience
interviewing and
different
stuff
parts
like
of
that.
law that you
So,
are
Nate,
interested
you
in,
know,
and kinda-
You might not be the favorite.
no, it's part of the
but
curriculum.
you're,
So you,
Sorry,
so,
buddy.
you're top
yeah,
one
so
and
you,
a
so you
half.
do a field placement.
Top one and a
so
half.
you do a
Top one
field
and a half.
placement.
I only beat you out by a half.
Oh wait,
to
I'm
DA's
sorry.
office, and
Anonymous.
you get
Sorry,
Anonymous.
anonymous.
Yeah,
Anonymous.
something like that.
He's
for the
anonymous
12 weeks of the
person
semester,
asking
or however long it
about
is.
Nate.
And you kind of get exposed to that particular area of the law, and then it helps you kind of figure out by the time you get to your third year of law school, you're like, okay, I want to do this kind of law, or here's what I want. I want to be a prosecutor. I want to be a criminal defense attorney.
Going to
I want
page
to be a marriage,
Yeah.
divorce.
So-
attorney, whatever. And you kind of pick what you like.
Here's an
And it's kind of
interesting one, I
informed by
think.
actual experience. while
This
you're in
again
law
is
school.
coming
'Cause
from our own
'cause
Palm
obviously,
Jaylee.
you read a lot in law school. There's so many different
You
types of
and
there's torts
everyone
and
you've
criminal
had
law and,
on the podcast so
civil
far
procedure
are stranded
property.
on
There's
an
so many different
island.
courses
Okay.
you take in law school, but
Who
it's
gets
not
what
the same,
job?
'cause you're
What
only
a
reading a book, you're reading
fantastic
cases.
question.
That is a great
Some of the cases are
question.
kind of weird. They're pretty crazy.
Can I call
But
dibs on
you
hunting
can't
stuff?
really read these cases and these
Oh,
books and be like,
absolutely.
this is the kind of law I want.
Yeah, there's nobody.
I-
I don't want to. This seems very presumptive, but I feel like I should be the leader.
You're like, I'll be in charge.
I think I just have great leadership skills.
You
and I
the
inspire.
little executive producer.
And I
Yeah,
inspire
yeah,
confidence.
yeah.
No, she can't make the hard decisions.
Yeah, so
And I inspire confidence.
it didn't at all.
I'll follow you.
Yeah.
I'll follow you as the leader.
Wow,
Yeah.
that went over easy. Alex Johnson is
the cook.
Yeah, is
He's
the cook.
He's the camp
Yeah.
chef.
So,
No.
thank God we had a culinarily
Yeah.
trained chef who went to chef school.
'Cause-
Ooh.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
On
it
an
was
island,
hilarious.
I'll catch fish and hunt whatever and gather fruits and coconuts and whatnot. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
it
he'd
was
make
really-
something
exactly, it
phenomenal
was-
out of it.
I
Yeah.
always
Like, he'd
wanted
do a
to
great
this,
job.
when I was a
Brian
kid. You see people
Lawrence
on TV. I
would
remember
be a
watching,
meat
like,
shield because he's good
Disney
at getting
Channel,
stabbed.
back in the day.
Well,
and,
no.
We have to start over.
Yeah, or
All
what
right,
was it,
Brian,
Johnny Papahala
I
back
think
on
would
board.
be
Remember that movie with the surfer.
Our like
Is
tech innovative
that
like
what it was?
You
was his
you
name
just heard him
Johnny
earlier this
Papahala?
morning.
That
He
was his
doesn't know
name,
anything
right?
about tech.
But there
What
was
tech is
two
on
movies.
Desert
There was
Island?
a sequel,
I don't know.
and it
There's
was back
Desert
on board.
Island
That was the
stuff.
name of the
What
movie.
tech is on
would
an
he not
island?
be an inventor and like invent some
That's
sort
my
of
little trivia, bro. I
contraptions?
know my Disney Channel.
Either that or we'll put
Yeah,
him
so you
on
see
the
these-
on the
these
planning
younger
committee
folks, I
for
remember seeing,
our
like,
rescue. you like,
Shia
all right,
LaBeouf
buddy,
movie
you
for
figure
13
out how to
hours.
get
Like,
us
I
off
wanna
this
do
rock.
that kind of thing. Yeah, it's such a great show.
Okay.
Um,
What about
and then
Michaela?
I grew up and
Because
obviously
Michaela
kinda
did
got away
episode of
from that.
Cocaine Bear.
But then one
She
day
was
I was
on
like
the
maybe 23,
podcast.
24, and I was actually at the restaurant one day, and I was.
I feel like
I had to
her
go
and
do a
Lex could
table
just be
visit,
the
and one of
character.
guests
Like
was
So sexist.
They're mothers.
You are
Super
so
and-
sexist.
No,
like
it's
food.
not
Oh
like
my
a sexist
God.
thing. It's like they're the nicest.
Oh,
They're gonna take care of
Chaos.
people.
They waited too long in the lobby. The baby's screaming across the street. Like everything was
But
horrible.
you're right, though.
So I had
It's
to go
not
to
a
this table
sexist
visit,
thing.
and
It's just
they're
they're the
screaming
nicest,
at me.
and they're gonna
And
look out and care for people
One of
more
the guy
than
at the end of the table, he was quiet.
More
He
than I
didn't have any
probably
problems.
No, you're
And
absolutely
as I was
right.
leaving after I finished solving the
John
problem by giving them everything for free,
is
they,
our-
they were the guy was like, "Hey,"
is
he's
our
like, "Hey, come here."
utility.
I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And he was
Like,
like, "Hey, look,
I feel like
I've
you
never
could
met a
tell us,
person
we could look.
who you could
You know,
tell
you
to
should,
do
you should
something,
and he'll figure it
go
out.
and
to
he'll
this
just
audition
figure it
on
out. He'll
Saturday.
have no
It's
idea.
for this fashion show.
Be like,
down
"I'll
in
make it work."
Atlantic
Like
City.
you come up with plan
And I'm
A
like,
and maybe plan B.
am I being, like,
John
too
has
technical
already
right
gotten
now?
to
like,
plan
literally,
F,
like, it's,
M, and
yeah.
Q.
Yeah,
before
yeah,
you
yeah,
even start
exactly.
action.
It's like
So
doesn't
John
that
is-
smell like doesn't smell like chloroform to you?
bounce
It was
ideas
scary.
off of and
so I'm
your
like,
utility
I
guy.
guess I'll look into it. Whatever.
Like if you give
so I
him
went
like,
home and
"Hey,
I
I need this
Googled,
to
like,
happen," he'll
everything
be
I
like,
could Google
"Okay."
about this thing and this event,
Okay.
and it all seemed to be
and
on
he'll
board. So I
figure
was
it
like,
out.
yeah, sure, why not?
Joe
So I
Vogt.
went to this audition and. I
Joe
got,
Vogt's also part of
selected
the Brain
to be in
Trust.
this runway show in
Yeah.
Atlantic City.
And I would,
then from
I
there,
would
it kinda just kinda
say
blossomed into, like, 'cause you meet
there's going to be
people and you
conflict
hear
that
about other events
arises
and
on an
eventually,
island.
Yes.
There's
kinda connect
not
with
many
and you,
people
like, hey, listen, there's a
better versed for
fashion show in New York City, and suddenly you're
de-escalation of
walking in
any
fashion week kinda
situation
thing.
than Joe
and then you meet
probably.
people up here.
I think that is.
Yeah,
Here's-
it's
and he's
couple
very
people up here in
insightful,
Albany,
so I
and kinda
think
got into
Understanding,
local
insightful, and
stuff
soft-spoken.
like,
Yeah,
couple
he
movies
would
here
have.
and there.
He would be able to.
But it was fun. It was something that I kind of wanted
solve
to
and
do.
resolve conflict well.
I don't even know. Like it was something. No, no.
And I guess Nate, we would just eat first.
no, no.
Oh my gosh. Are you credited?
This pod, you know, the one episode we did with
I
him.
think
So
it'd be
I
on
would
Nate's
say-
another guy who
I
just
think
gets
would be
stuff
what it'd be
done.
credited under.
So him
I don't
and
even
him
remember. There was
and
one movie.
John would be like, "Hey, you two,
There
we
was
need
one
a
movie
structure.
on
like we
Netflix,
need
but I don't
Really,
even
like,
know
living
my
structure.
he's just
like,
one of those
can you
self-
figure it out?" And they're
yeah.
like, "Okay,
It was again.
we're
This
gonna make
was
it happen."
many years
Like
ago. and that's probably
he's a
8 years
selfless
ago.
person,
But I did that because
With a great work
wanted
ethic.
to do it.
and there's
And I think
that's like the
again, that
best
comes down
combination to
really-
have on it.
Yeah.
We talked
Stranded
about
on
he's
an
like, you
Stranded
went
on
from
an
being in law
Is it
enforcement
bad
to now
that I
working
don't
in
know if
trade,
those are all the guests
and
or
it's
not?
like it's not ever too late to do what you want to do. I think that's the overarching
Ronald.
I guess theme.
I'm
of
so
the
sorry, you
story
probably
is
don't
like,
even
even
listen
though
to this
I'm
anymore,
35
though, but-
now. It's like, well, you know what?
Ronnie,
I don't need to stay doing the same thing that I have been doing for forever.
you're our
I'm not happy with it.
entertainment.
I'm
You're a bard.
young.
I don't
Creative.
have
Single,
any
don't have
input
any
because I've
kids,
never been
not
on
married.
an
So it's like
episode
I can
with
go do whatever I want to do.
Ronnie.
Call me. Just give me the first 2 numbers
Outside
of your phone number.
Ronnie,
I'll figure the rest out.
for the songs for,
Yeah, I'll
my
get it.
wedding.
But
I don't
it's like
really
it's not too late to do what you want to do, right? And if you want to go
So Ronnie-
pursue that dream, go and do it. You know, because that time is going to go
very
past. either way.
talented young
and that was
man.
the biggest motivation.
He
for
is
me.
very
It was like, I didn't want to
technically
wake up
gifted,
and be
like-
40.
So
and
he
say, oh, I
could
wish
be
I'd
part
done
of
that.
the.
Or
He
I
could
wish
be
I'd,
the
done this
R&D
differently. Because
department.
eventually, at some
I would
point, you
I
do
would
wake up and it
definitely
is
run
R&D.
R&D by him.
You know, because then you're 65 and you're like, all right, well, I'm in the
We
winter of
need
my
to
life.
build
It's
a
over.
boat.
You know.
Start experimenting and figuring.
Yeah.
Testing something out. We need a hydroponic system.
Oh yeah, he could do that in a heartbeat.
So he's R&D. He's research and development.
Yeah, but I also think he's like my right hand man too.
But that's the thing where it's
Not my
like, you know,
secretary.
and that's the hard
No,
part.
not
is
like in
starting,
terms
right?
of
Because you
leadership.
mentioned just now, you're like,
That's
oh, I thought about it
ridiculous.
for
He's too
years. You can think about something.
So he's like
I can
my-
be
think about something
VP.
for your whole life. Oh, I'm gonna do it. Yeah,
Oh,
someday.
absolutely, yeah, that's-
But
Okay,
the thing is, someday it's not the day.
It's ridiculous.
I'm either gonna do
I just
it
meant
on
like
Monday,
he's like
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Pick a day. When
I
are you
can't
gonna do it?
describe how necessary he would be to survival, but he would be necessary to survival.
You're like, we wouldn't make it without him, but I can't tell
but I
you
can't
why.
tell you why. I think that's everybody.
Yeah, I
Right?
think so.
All right, and if I forgot about you, boy, am I sorry. Please come back on or be more memorable.
Oh, shots fired.
Who was that? Oh, that was.
That was a good question, John.
that was a
Thank
great
you.
question.
No simulation here. Yeah.
Do you have a weird uncommon food combo? I think
So I tell them as they're like trying to make decisions, I'd go,
one of the. It's not too strange, but
start,
my grandfather every Thanksgiving would always do
you know, like start making
ham
decisions,
with
start
cream
going in the
cheese and a
direction.
scallion, and then roll it up
like a
and
boat.
make like an hors
If it's
d'oeuvre out of
moving,
it.
Oh, that actually sounds pretty good.
And like some people don't really like that or
needed
think
to
of
go
it,
where you
but
needed to go.
I always
If
consider
it's
that a
just
weird
sitting in
food
the water,
combo
you
that
can
I
turn
absolutely
wherever all
love.
you want, but it ain't doing nothing.
And that's the thing.
So
it's
it's
to
hard
that
for
point,
me
it's like
because
you think
to
about
me
it.
it's not a weird food combo.
Making
if I
no
eat it.
decision is still a
Right,
decision,
like-
Yeah.
right? Because you're choosing to not do anything. There's
I'll
no
go
motion.
with
There's
one
no
that I know
there's
a
no
lot of people are
movement
grossed out
towards
by.
that
And I don't
goal.
eat
It's like,
this
oh, I'm
often,
thinking
but I
about
have
it,
eaten it and
but
I
you're
do
not,
enjoy
you're not
them.
taking
But
actionable
you ever had
steps.
a peanut
Yeah,
butter
it's
and
hard to
pickle
start.
sandwich?
It's difficult to step out into the
No,
unknown.
but
I mentioned
I would
earlier.
try it.
It's hard to step
They're
off
pretty
that
good.
plank
I like
and hope
those.
that there's going to be
I
some
also,
ground underneath
for
you.
me,
it's hard.
weird food.
But
I put
eventually you
hot
look back
sauce,
and you've
like
taken 1,000 steps, and you're like,
Mexican hot
Damn.
sauce on everything.
I took the
And
first
he
one,
puts ketchup
and
on
now I'm
eggs.
199 steps beyond that. You know, and I've
Sometimes.
changed my whole life.
Scrambled
Everything's
eggs.
different. Everything's new.
Ew.
And you don't regret it.
Sometimes.
Even if say it's a
I also
podcast or
will,
modeling or
instead of
working
that,
a
do
trade,
salsa.
getting married. I don't know. You know, whatever it is. You know, you're like, damn, I'm so happy I did that.
Hey,
You're like,
So this is actually running.
it's.
we're like, please don't
I was like,
describe it that way.
it's like they can't say that.
Yeah.
Jenkins' story in the next episode.
Okay.
Where do
My
we go
turn.
from
Right, man,
here?
How
do we disappear?
You're welcome.
Shout out to
I'm always
Pillar.
glad to be part
Yeah.
of
This is a
it.
great
Appreciate
band.
it.
I love Pillar.
love
Was
Pillar.
So this was
let's go.
another
Let's go
episode of
Pillar.
Life Your Life Together. Thank you guys so much.
Pillar barely know her.
Next
Pillar.
week for Zach Jenkins,
Calm down, Bill Cosby.
Trial Through Fire. No, that's not the name of the episode.
Oh, how about this one? AOC. No doesn't mean no. It means find a different way. Bill
Yeah.
Cosby quietly smiling in
Share
the
with your
background.
friends.
Yeah. If you want to sponsor us.
Good job, AOC. You just
It's not rape
My
if you yell
t-shirt, there is
surprise.
merch, which I'm currently wearing.
oh boy.
Which is
I'm
So
literally
this
buying
one-
a T-shirt right now.
I love it. This is why we need to
We're taking
I feel
actionable
like
steps,
this
right?
is an
It's
easy
hard to
question
start,
for me.
but once you start,
Okay.
it's okay.
Was it?
I feel like it's going to be an easy question.
One day you
for
wake up and
too.
you have 12 T-shirts.
Number 7. Would you rather go back to 3rd grade with everything you know now, or be given $100 million right now?
got stuff for me.
Yeah.
What would you pick?
$100 million.
Okay, me too.
Likes,
I thought you were gonna try and be like, well, you could. But like,
Go to
I'd-
3rd grade and invent the Apple iPhone. And